Hey everyone, good morning. Hope things are good. Having really powerful adventures and a lot of breakthroughs and dreams. I practice walking in heightened awareness in large cities, seeing the whole scene and not really focusing on any particular piece. I don't really lock eyes or anything. I just I scan and walk through crowds, and everything's really incredible. It's not about, you don't have to be in nature or anything in order to see energy. In fact, getting silent in a large city and just seeing the totality of it's really powerful. Um, Going to chase some more music soon, and that's how I heal myself. So I'm really thankful to be dropping into that space. I'll be out in Bozeman, um, getting a lot of sauna and hot spring time and cold plunge time, and combining that with live music. It's kind of a perfect weekend for me. So super stoked to be heading in that direction, and really stoked to be moving into the September online course with everyone, and then getting ready for Sedona in December. And that one's going to get opened up to the public a little bit more, so there might be a much larger group that attends. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, Sedona's a powerful place that I have a little bit of experience with, but I look forward to tapping into that desert power, and such an incredible part of the world. When I was in Moab, in at Arches, I snuck off the trails that you're not supposed to get off of, and I found these incredible systems that you could walk through that were just these massive tunnels, and they looked like they were designed for like 12-foot tall people, to like a playground for really large beings to do things, almost like they were designed for an ecstatic relationship with the physical body and the dreaming body. And that's where the power really lies, is the gate of power, being able to get out of your mind so completely that your body takes over, especially running in the wilderness at night, which is very dangerous, but there's ways to practice and develop that capacity. I've spoken of this quite a bit, but it sounds really difficult or something, but it's really simple, and it's a relationship with trust. Your body's very, very intelligent. And so just practicing walking without thoughts. I was in a big city recently, and it's very psychedelic for me to be in places that are full of energy like that. It's just so you can do the gate of power in the city too. You can get so quiet walking amongst these people that you don't even feel your feet touching the ground. Body's just really moving on its own. It feels like you're floating a little bit, but you're electrically really grounded, so you feel really connected to the mother. So everywhere is a place of power, really. It just depends on your relationship with it. Speaking of places of power, Sedona in December is already getting really strong, what I'm being shown. I think these things have already happened. They're like pre-decided. And that's where impeccability comes in, is that ability to listen. We do have a form of free will, in that we have the capacity to be aware. The birds are really powerful today. Um, yeah, our capacity to intuit is what determines our ability to live a powerful life. And so impeccability is our relationship with knowing, direct knowing. And instead of being in our mind and having a fixed position on what we're going to be doing, the universe will do the things to ensure that you're okay, but we don't always know how to listen. We don't know how to feel. And so we're in our heads, and we want to get fully embodied so that we can really enjoy the rest of our days. And whether you're in a car, whether you're walking, whether you're how you spend your morning, routines are heavy typically because they're patterns, and patterns create trenches. You know, the more you're in a pattern, the more likely you're going to uh, be heavy and not light, because you start to drop into what we call the trenches of behavior, and you want to be more magical than that. Now, so there are routines that are healthy, obviously, but there comes a point where even a healthy routine becomes heavy in that you become predictable. Wow, these birds are just, these woodpeckers today are just everywhere. Um, so dreaming breakthroughs occur when you learn to see energy. And I had asked my elder, like, what is it like to see energy? And, you know, there's not a really good explanation that anyone can give. It's something that you intuit, and when you hang around people that can see energy, it can rub off. I don't sleep really deep because I'm seeing energy. I'm not necessarily a conscious dreamer like a lot of people are. I'm more of the heightened awareness, living in the dreaming awake side of things. But I do get to look directly at things. I'm able to turn off my thoughts and stare at these shape-shifting energies that are very, colors are changing and moving, and I'll see a scene and it'll open up and I can enter into it, and then, you know, I'll forget, and then I'm back in my mind, and then I'm, oh yeah, well, that just happened, you know, go back into it. And so our capacity to reclaim our attention determines everything in this realm. And this realm is incredible. You know, I was just in a really large city this weekend, just having the time of my life, and seeing energy in ways that I haven't before, and just falling in love with, you know, the listening, the timing, the way to turn a weekend into a much longer experience than it typically would be. So we can slow time down and we can extend eternal moments, and they stack and stack and stack, and so much transformation can happen in just a couple days when you've saved enough energy. Wow, two woodpeckers just right one on top of another. Birds are a trip. Dreaming attention is a real thing, and for some people it just sounds like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you know, if you've ever done mushrooms or something, it's very similar. You're just given access to a way of perceiving energy. There's no such thing as a hallucination. It's just that when we're seeing energy, because of being on a substance or whatever, our filter, our relationship with that energetic observation may have something from our day or our past that filters through that perception. So you're seeing something maybe not direct, but eventually you can clear your inventory through the recapitulation, and your filter is clean. Yeah, so being able to zoom in on a scene, you know, whether like here in the woods or in, you know, with your eyes closed in a dream state, that zooming in that you can practice with the art of gazing. So I spent a lot of my life gazing. And, you know, if some of you have seen my video with Roberto, but he talked about how they would wear something on the tip of their nose so that they would cross their eyes. And that this world isn't so fixed if your eyes change, right? So when you get silent and you're able to get really quiet, you know, obviously psychedelics make it more easy to do, but eventually you don't need the psychedelics in order to do it. And that's the whole point of why the Toltecs, or why Castaneda wrote those books, is to help people realize there's a totally different way to live your life. And you know, we are in a situation where there's great pressure on us not to discover the simplicity of being able to see energy directly. And so we're in a battle in a sense to reclaim our attention. And that pressure is in place to challenge us, not because it's a negative thing, but because it's ensuring the opportunity for us to evolve. It's challenging us to expose our domestication and give us an opportunity to rewild. And that doesn't mean you have to like leave society. It means you have to become aware of the heavy routines that are keeping you from being perceptually expansive and fluid in your decisions. And so you can turn a very mundane or typical experience into a very, very expansive one. And then, things stop being mundane whatsoever. Everything becomes fascinating. And it's so worth every effort to have that, because then you're not in the highs and lows anymore. You reach this place of neutrality, and the joy and the power that you feel surging through your system is incredible. It's healing. Obviously, the lighter you get from the recap work, the more grounded you're going to need to be. So the shamanic movements that I teach and that others teach, they're life-changing. Sedona is going to be a really powerful time in December. This next online workshop or online course is going to be really strong, building up to Sedona. So I encourage people to join. We're going to be opening Sedona up to more than just like private invites. So might have quite a few new people showing up. I'm not sure. Just so thankful to be alive and to be connected with you guys, and falling more and more in love with my existence. You know, being free from this long-term relationship I've been in with Rachel it's just opened up the door for me to really know myself in a way that I haven't before. And because I was constantly sort of gauging it off of her reflection of me. And that's just the challenges that come with a relationship typically, but it doesn't have to be heavy and burdensome in the way that it became, or the way that it kind of always was for us. We had really powerful, magical adventures and experiences, but we started off with a really difficult situation when we connected, because we were both students to very powerful people who, weren't the healthiest people in the world. So, so much healing and freedom, and I hope that's the same for Rachel and or will be. Not that that's as easy, but dreaming has made it. The dreaming that I'm having happen now, because of how much lighter I got, is requiring me to be more focused on my electrical connection to the mother, because I'm starting to have more expansive perceptual breakthroughs. So I'm thankful to all of you that are attracted to this type of conversation and this kind of work. Um, uh, Interesting conversations have been being had by many, and I'm working with some really fascinating clients that have a lot of really unique gifts. I don't claim to be all that advanced in particular areas. There are areas where I really am quite advanced compared to my peers. So we're all different. We all have different formulas. Um, it's been really good for me to be without cannabis and to just be me, and it gives me the ability to focus on the dreaming side of my attention so much more, because I'm not borrowing from that with the cannabis anymore. And my intent is to be without cannabis moving forward, so that I can really explore the power of dreams, and just to no longer be kind of slowing my process down, which is what I was doing, kind of at the request of Rachel and our relating, that we would, not move too quickly into this, so that the relationship could survive. And because that's changed, the doors have just flown open for me, and all these incredible connections are being made, and all these adventures are being had. profoundly thankful for the healing that's happening inside of all that. So um, the birds this morning were so sweet. They came to me at dawn, and these three little birds, like the Bob Marley song, and it was really beautiful. They're so sweet. Um, it's really worth getting up early and watching the world shapeshift, from dark into light, and then doing the same at night, watching that twilight transition. It's the time of power, um, the sun setting and the sun rising. Um, our relationship with the sun is significant, just as significant as our relationship with the earth. And it's all connected. And so we don't have to work with any mediums or angels or helpers. We can. There are many, many active beings that are available to communicate with. But there's often a price to pay. And so I do have some helpers that I knew in this life who crossed over, who are helping me. I've had a really powerful experience with the death of fire, which has changed everything for me significantly. And so those of you that read the Castaneda material would understand that. But yeah, we're just not alone, and we're being observed. And the pressure that's on us to stay domesticated, to stay put, is also, these interdimensional beings that are, attracted to our luminosity. And they can't feed off of you if you reclaim your power and attention. And so, how creative can we get? How imaginative can we be so that we're fluid and not predictable? So that our day is not just another day, that every day is an evolutionary transformation. So if you really, really follow the order of the Castaneda books, his transformation is absolutely insane. How far he gets within that work, or how far Lagorda gets, all these different characters in those books. Those are real people. Those books aren't made up. There might be pieces of it that are made up because Carlos is a total fucking trickster. He would tell people that he was born in Peru, and then he'd tell other people he's born in Brazil, and he would tell people different birth dates. And so people assumed, since he was a trickster, that he was a liar, but it's not the case. He was just fucking with people because he could, because Don Juan fucked with him. And he was a very funny man. Carol Tiggs helped me to see that. She told me that, but she also helped me to see it because she is very similar, very, very bonded to him, even though he crossed. There's a lot of activity in the non-linear, so a lot of people have crossed over that are very active. And I think Carlos got stuck somewhere in his journey, but the dreamers, that were still around, I think did their best to try to help him out. And I'm not sure how that all works because it's not linear. It could still be going on. Time is different in those other layers. So yeah, there's a lot to consider around that too. My time that I spend in the wilderness with the mother is the way in which I reset my field, but that allows me then to go on adventures into society and places. So there is a time and a place to be alone and silent, and to be just with the birds and the deer, and or in the desert. It's a great video of a man on LSD in the desert, and he's just laughing and laughing and laughing, and he's just like, "You have to be strong." He just kept saying it over and over because he could feel his power for the first time, and it made him feel so alive and so much love. And he'd just say that, "You have to be strong," because he felt his will, and he was just laughing and joyful. And I'm not recommending LSD. It's a pretty difficult one to run through your system. I think psilocybin or amanita is a much more earth-based medicine, so But everyone has their relationship with medicines, and each to their own. This is your life. You get to choose. I hope your days are just getting as powerful as possible, and everything is divine in its timing. So wherever you're at and whatever you're experiencing is appropriate to the lesson that you're inside of. We really are inside of a magical realm that is intelligent, that can assist us. Our ability to listen, our ability to see, our ability to feel. Take really good care of yourself if and when you get the clarity on how to do so. And if you're not in that place, try not to beat yourself up for whatever habits you have or whatever aspects of fear that you're still inside of. We have wounds, and we have a little boy or a little girl in each of us that has some trepidation. We have the rebel teen, that often is at odds with the world or wants to rebel against the system. But the system's in place to train you. It's not about sneaking or escaping. It's about walking toward the things that used to be very difficult for you. Once you get strong enough, you can re-enter the world in a new way. You become a new person. Shamans often change their name because of that. They mark like a chapter shift in their life, and they really step into a relationship with being in the eternal now and learning to perceive themselves without the filter of the past. So our inventory is it's just not meant to be carried. It's meant to be released so that you are in a very intuitive way, because the way you used to be is going to affect how you are now unless you go in and breathe back the luminosity that you left, and exhale and release any energy that's not yours that you took on. Look forward to being with those of you that'll be joining the course in September, and especially in Sedona. I hope you guys can make that work. It's going to be a really powerful shift in this work, being in the desert. And we'll probably do some interesting things in addition to the workshop at night and stuff. So lots of opportunities to connect, and the microdosing would be appropriate for the workshop, and it's a very powerful medicine, the Brain Supreme medicine. So yeah, look forward to all that unfolds. Much love, everyone.